But also you're talking about a housing crisis currently in not only Kensington and Chelsea, but throughout the country. Yeah. Currently in Kensington and Chelsea, you've got 6,000 empty homes. You've got 3,000 people on the housing list. Yet Kensington and Chelsea are agreeing plans to build these massive high-rise buildings that are not safe, or what the residents feel are not safe. What Kensington and Chelsea should be doing is concentrating on those 3,000 residents, housing those people. We know since that fire on the 14th of June 2017, that there's still some residents from Grenfell who are still yet to be housed by the borough of Kensington and Chelsea. So let's focus on them. Let's focus on learning lessons from that horrible night that took place in 2017, rather than green-lighting these proposals that are currently under review by the government. It's utterly perverse that these housing developers have been given the green light to build this high-rise building with only one stairwell in the shadow of Grenfell Tower. It's a real smack in the face to those residents, I must say.
From what I can gather, your main motivation behind this just seems to be about the people in these towers, etc., 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 and the victims. Of course it is as well. But also the firefighters, right? I mean, the fact is that as long as dangerous situations are allowed to occur, then at the end of the day, it's people like yourself and your colleagues who have to walk headfirst into those situations. And without wanting to, hopefully, don't want to bring back any too much, visceral trauma or anything like that. But what were your colleagues saying about that evening when they started getting the calls in and when they attended?
With firefighters, we tend to be... of course, I'm not a firefighter anymore. I haven't been for 2 years. But with firefighters, we tend to be... we have quite a dark sense of humour. We're able just to sort of just steam on with things. We don't necessarily talk about our feelings much. However, on that night, talking to my colleagues, it was a night like no other. Many people have left the job since then. Also, the control workers who had to take those phone calls from those residents trapped in those flats, they've left the job since then. And it was firefighters having to make the choice between leaving people and saving people because they didn't have the resources. As a side issue, we know that since 2013, up until the date of Grenfell, the fire cover for that borough had been cut by 50%. Right. That's 50% less firefighters and fire engines to attend. So their hands were already tied. But absolutely, from a trauma point of view, those firefighters will never get over it. And we know since then there's been questions raised from the inquiry and accusations made towards the firefighters. It's a difficult issue, but certainly it's their job to do that. All they ask is that they're given the right tools to be able to do it, and that housing developers meet their requirements and don't put residents in unsafe situations.